Now distinguished professor at Touro University, Thane Rosenbaum, and former FBI agent, former Navy SEAL and author of Sheep No More, FBI, from the FBI, Jonathan Gilliam. Thane, what are your thoughts here? I guess the first thing that strikes me is the gun charge could have been a 10-year prison sentence, and instead the possibility is it'll be wiped off the records.
My understanding, Bob, it's not even something he's pleading guilty to. He's just agreeing to enter in. He's just agreeing to enter into a diversion program. If he's drug free for 2 years, it completely disappears from his record. But if you're Donald Trump's lawyers, you got to say, when you're trying to make your case on selective prosecution, this is Exhibit A, right? Donald Trump's lawyers should say, look, I had some documents. I had rights to them under the Presidential Records Act. Probably maybe should have given them back sooner, but I didn't sell them, transfer them, have any interaction with a foreign entity. Now, the younger Biden is only dealing with foreign entities. I'm being hit with espionage. There's nothing in my record here that has anything to do with a foreign entity. The young Biden is influence peddling his father's name for Chinese business and Ukrainian business, funneling millions of dollars into the Biden coffers. And he's basically hit with 2 misdemeanor charges on tax evasion. There's no curiosity of the Justice Department. It's one thing to say you didn't pay your taxes. It's another thing to say who paid you and why. What were you getting paid for? To me, that's the more interesting question. Under what circumstances? So that was a very limited scope of this investigation. They were clearly not interested in any wider criminal activity or wrongdoing. They just simply said, look, let's get a deal, a plea deal. Let's get something on the records that we have gone after Hunter Biden, and then we'll go back to President Trump.
Yeah. And speaking of President Trump, former President Trump, Jonathan, he did take to Truth Social. Here's what he said. He said, it's all about election interference. They don't want to run against me. I ran twice. I did much better the second time, getting millions and millions more votes than the first, a record for a sitting president, and am leading Biden in the polls by a lot. They are the party of disinformation. They are using the DOJ and FBI against me to rig the 2024 election. They'll hit Hunter with something small to make their strike on me look fair. Nothing about these fascists is fair or honest. Fight. And again, if you look at the date there, that was back on June 6th. So this was in advance of this so-called, as many people are describing it, slap on the wrist for Hunter Biden, Jonathan.
Well, first off, listen, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the way former President Trump writes his tweets because it's not going to change anything. I was a supporter of Trump, still support him. But when he writes a tweet condemning Hunter Biden and the Justice Department, he needs to focus on that. He needs to focus on that. We know what he did. We know how good he did. But he needs to keep hammering away, as does anybody in media that can do it, hammering away at the reality of who Hunter Biden is, who Joe Biden is, and just stay on that. Because here's the reality. As Thane was just talking about all these things that are occurring and how this entire charge or plea deal has gone down. The reality is when you look at an investigation, I think this is very important for the people to realize, is that when we get information that something is occurring that we believe there might be a crime, a federal crime, or a nexus to a federal crime, we'll do a preliminary investigation. The FBI will carry out a preliminary investigation. There's certain things that through a supervisor or a assistant special agent in charge that we can do before we go to the U.S. attorney. Once we get enough information to say we have evidence that there is a nexus to a federal crime, we then go to the U.S. attorney and we get a full investigation. Once that occurs, we don't stop until we get a conviction. We just don't stop. And if something went on for this long, this many years, it would not result in a plea deal typically unless the person we were investigating had some big information about a big fish and they were willing to work with us. I don't see that happening here. So logically, we must then assume that the Department of Justice and the FBI have basically stepped backwards and said, we're not going to do anything to Hunter Biden because of politics.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you, Bob, if it was us, any of us on this show right now, and we had done those 3 things and then tried to cover it up, we would not only be charged with 2 counts of tax evasion and sidestepping a gun charge, that gun charge also should go down as obstruction because they threw it in the trash when they knew that somebody realized that he had it. So there's all these different charges that we would face that are not happening here.
Okay, we got to go, but in about 20 seconds, Thane, is there any reason this deal should be used to make the investigation from the Republicans in the House more difficult? Are they going to be able to say, well, you know, we can't release that because it's part of a plea deal and we can't give you that information? Or will that investigation legally go forward?
I bet you're right, Bob. I'm sure that the Justice Department will not share the evidence that they uncovered with the Oversight Committee. They'll say, go do your own investigation. The interesting thing is that the special prosecutor handling this, David Weiss, appointed by Donald Trump, has said, I don't know what it means. He said, as far as I'm concerned, the investigation will be ongoing even after the plea deal is accepted. So I don't know exactly what that means. They're like leaving the door open that perhaps they'll bring something else. But as far as right now, this is limited to misdemeanors and a diversion program. It's really a traffic ticket compared to the espionage charges brought against Donald Trump.
Right. And that's, I think those were his words as well. Thane Rosenbaum, Jonathan Gilliam, thank you, gentlemen.